yesterday. First, we'll have a Docker file. First, we'll have a Docker file. From Docker file, when we issue Docker build command, we get Docker image. And from here, when we say Docker run command, so this will run a Docker container. Okay. So if you see Docker file, so this is a Docker file, okay, for where we are setting up the nginx server, and in that we are copying some index.html. So basically, where this Docker file is present, this will be present. You can create this Docker file in a virtual machine. I mean, in a virtual machine, in my virtual machine, I will install Docker engine. How I install Docker engine? I will install Docker engine. Okay. I'll install Docker engine. Now this Docker engine is installed here. And what I do is, in this virtual machine, you can think like a machine, a computer. Here I have folder path /home/ubuntu. So this is the folder path. Okay. Okay, this is the folder path. In this folder path, you have Docker file. And this is your Docker file. This is your Docker file. Okay, you'll save this content in a file called, the name of this is Docker file. The file name is Docker file. And where that is present in this folder path. Okay. Now, what you do, in this path, you will execute this command, Docker build command. So in this path, you will execute Docker build command. Docker build. So what Docker build we know? Docker build, what it will do, you know? This will contact the Docker engine. And Docker engine, what it does, it creates this Docker, it will take this Docker file as input and convert that to Docker image. And how it will convert, you'll see. So when Docker build is connected to Docker engine, Docker build means it is a command that is executed on the Docker engine. So what Docker build will do is, Docker build will read line by line of Docker file. Docker build command will read line by line of Docker file. So first, what is the first line? The first line is this one, from nginx. So this from is a Docker file command where it will first pull this image. This nginx is a server. It is a server. So this is also a Docker image. So first it will form a base image. First it will form a base image. I'll draw here, okay? First it will form a base image. Nginx base image. And how it will pull first it will see whether this nginx, nginx is present in Docker, in the Docker cache. Okay, if not, it will pull from the Docker hub, where Docker hub is a central repository for Docker images. All the standard Docker images are present here. Okay, so it will pull that image and form a base image. And by the time the Docker file, the Docker build command reads the next command, what will happen? No, internally, this base image will actually run as a temporary container. So for every instruction, a temporary container is launched actually. A temporary container is launched. Now, by the time the first command is completed, a temporary container is formed. Now the second command, what is the second command? Copy command. So in this temporary container, so this copy command gets executed. What it executes, it will copy index.html. Where is your index.html? In this file system. In this file system, your index.html will be present. You will be saving here. So this index.html, this is the file which you have written. This is your own HTML file. This file is copied to the temporary container. So in the temporary container, where? In this path. And which is this path? This path is your nginx server standard path actually. Nginx server standard path. Okay. So this temporary container now is running nginx server, because this nginx base image, from this nginx base image, this temporary container is running. And this temporary container now is running nginx server. Now, the second Docker file command, what it will do? It will copy this index.html present here, which is written by you, into this temporary container. And now this temporary container will have now this index.html in this path. Okay. Now what will happen now? By the time the second command gets completed, now this will form a final image, a final Docker image. And what this final Docker image contains? The base image, nginx, the base image, and the index.html copy to nginx path. So this final Docker image contains this. Okay, so that means, and this final Docker image is this one. This is your final Docker image. That means by the time Docker build command executes each and every line of the file, okay, you will get a Docker image like this. So with the nginx base image, index.html copy to nginx path. Nginx path. Okay. Now you have Docker image. Now this Docker image is present where? It is present here only. In the Docker engine only it is present. Okay. I'm drawing outside, but it is present here only. Now, when I say Docker run command, Docker run on this image. When I say Docker run on this image, now it will run as a Docker container. And this container is nothing but Nginx server running index.html page. So now you can access this. Now you can access container with the IP address, or host name. You can access this page. So can we do practical now? So first let me log into the virtual machine now. So as I was telling you yesterday, this is my Docker virtual machine. Let me start this machine. I'm starting this virtual machine. Okay. Now you see, I'm just entering the key so that I don't need to. User ID is Ubuntu and password is the key. Okay, I logged into the machine. Okay, now what is my present working directory? This is my present working directory. So I'll just say I'll create a Docker file, vi Docker file. Okay, so let me now type from nginx, right? This is the image, right? From nginx. Next, copy index.html /user/share nginx/html. Okay. So this is the Docker file. I saved where in this Docker file? In this path. So in this path I saved. Okay. Now let me now build this Docker file now. How I'll build? I'll use the command docker build. Okay, I'll use the command docker build. Okay, let me do that. So what I do is sudo is my, I don't have, sudo is like a root permission. Sudo is like a root user. I'll say docker build -t. I'll give some name to this, like my nginx, like this. -t is the tag, and this is the name actually. Okay, name of the Docker image. Okay, dot. When I say dot, it is a current directory. It is a current directory, and Docker file is also present here. Let me enter this. See, it is building the Docker image. Okay, now you got. Now I want to see the Docker images. So for that, see, I listed the commands also. I'll share you these notes also. See, these are Docker commands. I want to list the Docker images. So I'll use sudo. Sudo is your root permission. Okay, if your root permission, you don't need to give sudo. You can directly give Docker images. So this command will list Docker image along with image ID. So let me now take sudo docker images. See, I have so many images. The image which I created is this one, my nginx, right? This is the image name that I created. Okay, this is the image that got created, my nginx. Okay. Now this Docker image got created now. See, when you see when it is creating Docker image, you see some instructions here. See, it is actually first running from nginx. Next, it is copying this. See, which I was telling you. Then finally, you got an image. Now I want to run this now. Sudo docker. Okay, before that, I want to see whether index, what is index.html here. This is the content. Okay, this is my index.html. This is DevSecOps code. This is index. Okay. Now let me run this. So now I got image now. I want to make this as a container. For that, I'll use docker run command. Sudo docker run. I'll give my nginx. Now you see, it is running the nginx. Okay. Now, shall I access this? With IP address, I can access it. Let me do one thing. By default, it is running in port 80, right? Okay, let me. So what I'll do, sudo docker run -p. I'll tell you what is this minus 8080:80 my nginx. Sudo docker ps. See, now I want to see the container list, just like how actually I can see the images list. To sudo docker images will list the docker images. Now sudo docker ps will list the running containers. So I'll say sudo docker ps. Okay. So currently there are no containers running. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll give some 8085. Okay, fine. I'll tell you what I'm doing now. Let me go to your security group. I have to say whether port 8085 is open or not. Port 8085. Yeah, it is open. Okay, fine. So now let me now go to your EC2 instance and see the IP address of this. So now I'll say 8085. Now you see, I got the page running. See, are you able to access? I'm just sending you to everyone. Everyone is able to access this? Let me know. Okay, how you are getting this content? From where this content? This content is part of your index.html. See, this content is part of your index.html. Index.html. See, in the index.html, I have put this content. See, this is developed. Now this content is now running in the server. The same content is displaying in the browser. So see what I have done, if you remember, I built the image using docker build command and then using docker run. In the docker run, what I have done, I have done like this. I have done like this. See, sudo docker run. See, while building the image, I have done like this. So this is the command ID. This is the command. So what that command does, sudo is your root permission. Docker build -t is the name of the image, my nginx, dot is your current file. Next is sudo docker run command. Okay, what I have done, I have given like this. So what I'm doing here, you see, I'm doing -p in case of port mapping. See, by default, your nginx runs in the port 80. Your nginx server runs in the port 80. Okay. See, what is the meaning of this is, see, your nginx server runs in port 80. Now, I want to access this from external URL, from this machine URL. Your virtual machine IP address is this one. This is your virtual machine IP address. So this is your virtual machine IP address. Now I want to access this nginx index.html page from this IP address. How? In this virtual machine, see, it is like this. Here you have virtual machine. In this virtual machine, you have the container. You have the container. Okay. You have the container. What is the container? Nginx server. Nginx container. Okay. Now in this nginx container is running in the port 80. Your virtual machine IP address is this one. This is your virtual machine IP address. Now I want to access this nginx server index.html page from this IP address. I cannot access with this port. So what I have to do? So this is your virtual machine or host port. This is your host machine. I want to map the container port. This is your container port. I want to map container port with the host machine port. With host machine port. So for that, what I do? Your host machine port. When I run the Docker container, I do like this. This 8085 is, you can give any number to this. Okay, you can give any number, any port number. So this is your host machine port. That is virtual machine port. And this is your container port. So this is your container port. Now when I try to access this with this IP address, I have to give this port, not this container port. So that's why I have given 8085. Remember? So I have given this IP address colon 8085. This container or the host machine port. So when I give a request to this port is mapped to this container port 80. So the request that comes, so from the browser, you are hitting now the browser. From the browser, you are hitting this request. You are hitting this request. Now this is going to 8085 port. 8085 with the IP address, this IP address, right? This IP address. Now once the request reaches here, now this port is mapped to where? The container port 80. That means the request is reaches here now. From here, the request is mapped here. And now here, what it is loaded? The index.html is loaded. Index.html page is loaded. So that is what you are able to see, this page. Index.html contains only simple one line. You can actually make the index.html complex also. You can draw tables. You can make a kind of a dashboard if you're expert in HTML. And when you invoke this URL, you'll get a dashboard kind of page. For now, I have made only simple line, that's all. Because you are running Docker run command on the my nginx image, right? This image. So that's why this container is running, nginx container is running. And how this image is formed? This image is formed from the base image, from this Docker file. From this Docker file, the image is formed. So, and these are the commands where you can list the Docker images. This is the command for building. This is the command to list the images. This is the command to create a Docker container. This is to list the containers. If I want to stop the container, I'll use sudo docker stop the container ID. If you want to remove the container, you can give like this. If you want to remove the Docker image also, I can remove this. So these are the commands. I'll share you these commands also, these notes. So yeah, Docker is actually like a version. I don't want to go in depth to you. You'll get confused because that is a separate course. That's why I'll stop here for Dockers. Because if I go in depth, it will be a lot of complex topics for you. And this course time will not be sufficient. So with this, I complete Docker set. So what are the fundamentals, basics you need? That is enough now. Okay. Can you tell about base image? Base image is nothing but what is your base image? For this, the complete Nginx server is the base image. The base image, see, when you're building a house, first you lay the foundation. On top of that foundation, you'll lay the pillars like that. When you're building a Docker image, first a base image. On top of that base image, you'll install your softwares or you install your required programs or anything. So that is your base image. So a base image is like your, a Docker image. This Docker image is formed from a base image. On top of that, you'll install some softwares, you'll install some programs. So in this file, first is your base image is your Nginx server. On top of this index server, you are copying this index.html in this path. Okay, finally you'll get one Docker image. And when you run this Docker image, you'll get a Docker container. And you can access this Docker container through your IP machine address port. So So 7 tools are completed. Nginx is like Nginx is a web server only. It is just like a Tomcat. So with these 7 tools got completed. Monday, I'll tell you this ELK. Next is JMeter. Next is Jenkins. Yeah, you can use Tomcat also, okay? Not an issue. So what do we have to cover all the tools? Let's see, Docker itself. See, earlier I have taken only Docker, separate course for Docker. Docker itself, separate course, I have taken almost 1.5 months, 1.5 to 2 months. Okay. But now this tools course, I have to cover the other tools also, right? So time will not be sufficient. So whatever the fundamentals that are required, that are enough for you. What are the main fundamentals? These are the fundamentals. These are the fundamentals. Docker file, Docker image, Docker container, and these Docker commands. These commands. See, for example, now I can list the containers now. How I list the container? Sudo docker ps. Currently now there is no container. Okay. Suppose I'll run the container again. Now I'll say sudo docker ps. It will list the containers. You see, this is your container ID running. Okay, running here. Now I want to stop the container. Sudo docker stop. I'll give the container ID. Okay. Now it is stopped. Now if I say sudo docker ps, there is no container getting created. I want to remove this container permanently. So how will you sudo docker rm? It got removed. Now I want to remove the images also. First I'll list the images. Sudo docker images. So I'll remove this my nginx image. So I'll say sudo docker rm my. I have to give rm my. I'll give this image ID. Okay. It got removed. When I say now sudo docker images, that my nginx is not listed, you see, anywhere. It got removed. All right. So with this 7 tools are completed. Monday I'll start ELK. Okay. Any questions till now? I'll upload these notes to everyone. In Google Classroom, I'll upload this link and this Docker's notes also. Okay. This I prepared actually, Docker concepts and all. You can go through this actually. Here I have written for a Spring Boot application also. Okay. Just 1 minute, I'm getting one call. Yeah, I'll share you this command. Okay, these notes. You can follow this installation commands. I'll upload these notes. Okay, you can follow this installation commands. Yeah, I'll upload that. I did not have that YouTube channel. I'll put some detailed Docker course there. Okay then. All right then. So tomorrow, but it's not tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. So tomorrow, not tomorrow. Tomorrow Sunday, right? Tomorrow there is no class. So Monday I will start this ELK. How many of you know ELK? Okay, I'll start. No, don't worry. ELK is nothing but Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana. So this is used for logging tool, centralized logging. You might have heard about, you might know logging we have studied in SLF4j, right? Log4j, but then what is this? I'll tell you on Monday, okay? Already we studied logging in SLF4j, log4j. But what is this? This is centralized, okay? Logging, I'll tell you. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for your note comment. Yeah. Okay, then all right. So yeah, Monday we'll meet. All right then, okay. So tomorrow, okay, by today I'll upload this note so that tomorrow you can practice. Tomorrow Sunday for you, right? You can practice this. I'll upload today only all these notes. All right then, okay. Thank you all. See you on Monday. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Very happy weekend for you, for everyone. All right. Yeah, Jira is a project tracker. I'll tell you that. Okay. Thank you all.